Hey friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria and today I'm going to be doing a fun recommendation video talking about forbidden and taboo romances. For this video, I am going to be going based off of this, like when I was deciding what books I wanted to include in this video, I was going off of this like sentence that I kept saying in my head, which is, I want him, but they're this. What about this book makes it taboo or forbidden? And so I was going and doing it, and I would always say the main character wants the other character, but this is preventing it. And so while I'm doing these recommendations, I will tell you what it is, but each one is going to be different, and it's just like, I want him, but he's this, and that's why it's forbidden for us to be together. I hope that makes sense. So these are some of my favorite books. I love a good forbidden romance. It adds just that little extra bit of drama and intrigue into the plot that just makes it so, like, the tension builds so beautifully in a book where it is forbidden, but they love each other so much that they just can't help it, and I just love it. Okay, so the first one that I'm going to recommend, the sentence that I was saying in my head was, I want him, but he's my straight best friend. And so for this book, the book that this sentence fits for is Irresistible Puck Boy by Eden Finley and Saxon James. This is the second book in their Puck Boys series, but you don't necessarily have to read the first one. A lot of Eden Finley and Saxon James books are interconnected, but you really can all read each one of them as a standalone. This book specifically is a hockey romance that follows Trip and Dex. Their last name is both Mitchell, but they're not related. And they are best friends, and they are incredibly close best friends, to the point where so many other people comment and talk about it, and Dex says that he's straight. Trip is gay, and he's out gay and everyone knows. So he has this crazy crush on his best friend, and they are put into a situation where they end up in a like fake marriage, and it's all Dex's idea, and Trip knows that it's not a good idea. Like, for his heart, it's very risky to be put in this like fake marriage situation with Dex, who he's in love with, but Dex kind of like begs him to do it with him, and Trip can't say no. He can't say no, and he just needs, he doesn't want to do anything that'll harm Dex. And so they end up in this fake dating situation or fake marriage situation, and it's hilarious. It's so fun. It's one of the best friends to lovers romances that I have ever read. It's so cute, and I love the way that Dex learns his sexuality and discovers that you don't have to just like guys or just like girls, or you can like both. You can like everyone. You can have sexuality as a spectrum, and how you create a long-term good relationship is different for your attraction to different people. And it's a very interesting discussion, and I really like the way that Dex has to go about and try and like find what fits for him and why it might be different than what he originally thought it was. And it's very cute. I really liked it. And it does have that very much like longing aspect of a taboo or a forbidden romance that other forbidden romances have, because of Trip's like long pining and like desperation to be with Dex and not be able to. Okay, so the next one that I'm going to recommend is a little bit more taboo, but that one is I Want Him But He's a Killer. And for this, I am going with Psycho by Onley James. This is book 2 in the Necessary Evil series. The Necessary Evil series are all taboo romances because they all follow serial killers, but I I'm recommending this one because it's my favorite in the series, and it is even more, I think, taboo than some of the others in the series, because the love interest for the serial killer in this book's name is August, and his love interest is actually a former FBI agent. So him finding out that that August is a serial killer is a lot more problematic than some random guy on the streets finding out, you know? So this book follows August Mulvaney, who is one of the Mulvaney siblings. He is a part of the Mulvaney family where his adopted father adopted a bunch of boys who all had psychopathic tendencies and trained them to be killers who only kill evil people. And August he is slightly autistic, and he has savant syndrome, and he is incredibly intelligent, and he is a college professor, and Lucas is a former FBI agent who got fired or let go from the FBI because he is clairvoyant, and he accused one of his fellow FBI agents of being a killer. And when asked how he knew, he was like, I'm clairvoyant. So they shipped him off to a psych ward, and then he was let go from the FBI, but he is now a college professor at the same university that August works at. And when they bump into each other and end up like actually physically bumping into each other, Lucas gets this clairvoyant vision, and so he knows that August is a serial killer. And it is a very interesting start to their relationship, but it ends up being so cute. It's so fun, and they work together to fight bad guys. And it's great. It's so good. Necessary Evils is if you have never read a psychopath romance before, or a serial killer romance before, I would actually recommend starting with Necessary Evils, because it gives you that psychopath, that serial killer element that is like a little darker. But all the psychopaths are such sweethearts that it doesn't seem as intense as other serial killer romances. So if you want to try your hand at a serial killer romance but are a little nervous about going in too deep, this series is a good place to start. I don't love the first book, but I really enjoy all the rest of them, so would recommend. The next one that I'm going to recommend is another one that's more taboo than the first one that I said, and that is He's My Dad's Best Friend. And for this, I'm recommending Second Semester by Q.B. Tyler. I absolutely love this book. I gave it 5 stars. And it is a very short, I think it's only 200 pages, not even 200 pages. And it's about a heroine whose name is Serena, and she is a final year law student. She's pre-law, and she's like a 22-year-old pre-law student. Her father is a lawyer, and he is a partner at a law firm, and Serena gets an internship at his law firm where she is going to shadow her dad and learn more about real life practice of the law before she goes to law school. And she is a very prim and proper. She has grown up like that. She has never really rebelled or gone outside of what her parents expected or thought she should be. She ends up in a very strong relationship with another partner at the firm, who also happens to be her father's best friend, who is 20-something years older than her. They have to hide their relationship from her dad, and it is so good. It's so sexy. It's that forbidden, we have to sneak moments. It's just such a good time. Next one is a captor-captive romance, so it is taboo because he is her captor, and that is Stolen Heir by Sophie Lark. This one is book 3 in the Brutal Birthright series, so it is a mafia romance. The hero in this name is Mikolaj, and he is the head of the Polish mafia, and he wants revenge against the Irish mafia because they killed his father figure, who was the former head of the Polish mafia. And so in retaliation, he kidnaps the youngest daughter of the head of the Irish mafia and holds her hostage in his house. Her name is Nessa. He thinks that she's very naive. She doesn't know a lot about the business because her father keeps her kind of very sheltered. But she actually has a much stronger attitude, much stronger resilience than Miko expected in the beginning, and when they fall for each other, it is very wrong because one, Miko has captured her and has been holding her hostage, and also because of their families will never accept it. So it is very fun and very good and so sexy, and I love Nessa. She's a ballerina, and the way that Sophie Lark talks about dance in this book is so incredibly beautiful. I love the way that she tells the story and the way that like Miko sees and falls in love with Nessa while watching her dance, and it's so good. It's so good. I absolutely love it. It does have like a Beauty and the Beast feel to it, and it's just all amazing and has that really nice forbidden aspect to it that is just so sexy. Okay, I have one more. The last one that I'm going to recommend is maybe the most taboo on this list, and that is Beautiful Sinner by Sarah Kate, which is I Want Him, But He's a Priest. So this one is about a girl who she has always chosen the wrong guys. She has never been alone and has always really had a boyfriend. So when she arrives in on a European, she's going on this European vacation by herself, but of course the first thing that her first guy that she meets, she decides is like her soulmate, and they've only known each other for like a very short time, not even like a day. They steal all of her stuff and leave her in Ireland with no car, no money, no passport, no nothing. And she feels very embarrassed, very upset, and knows that she's gonna have to call her sister to bail her out again because she always ends up in situations like this. So when her sister says, hey, maybe you just should spend some time in Ireland by yourself and be alone for a while, she is incredibly nervous and does not really want to do that, but agrees to try, and she ends up getting a job at the bed and breakfast that she stayed at. And the person who is her boss at this bed and breakfast is the local priest, who is incredibly good looking, maybe 15 years older than her, and they very much develop like a friendship, but with a severe attraction attached to it. But it's incredibly taboo. And the hero, who is this priest, he has to try and like hold back because he is a priest and he believes in his vows that he made, and he wants to stick to the vows that he made. And he knows that he talks that like this is God testing him, and he knows that she's the temptress, and that he should hold to his vows. But as they get closer and closer, it gets harder and harder for them to be apart, and it is really good. I really enjoyed it, and it was the first priest romance that I've read. I've never read Priest by Sierra Simone or some of the others. I know that Pam Godwin, I think, has one, and I have never read a priest romance. So this one was a really interesting start to a priest romance. It also takes place in Ireland, like I said, and I loved it. The talk of the scenery and just being in this small town in Ireland was really amazing. I love Ireland. I lived there for 6 months while I was in college in a town not so far from where this book takes place, because this book takes place in Ennis, and I've actually been to Ennis and to Limerick, which is very close, and I lived in Galway, so it was very fun to have, because I listened to the audiobook, it was very interesting to have it described to a town that I've actually been to, and to have the local, I think that Sarah Kate got the Irish feel very well of being a American from a larger place, visiting a small town in Ireland. So I really appreciated that, and the hero did have an accent in the audiobook, which was fun. But I really enjoyed it, and it was definitely that forbidden taboo aspect a lot, and it goes a lot deeper into that forbidden taboo aspect than some of the other ones do. I think the only one that really comes close to that much of a deep taboo decision making is Second Semester by QB Tyler, but because this is so short, it moves quicker. And Beautiful Sinner just takes it's a little bit more drawn out of a struggle, I guess, to decide what to do and what not to do. But that is all of the ones that I was going to recommend. I love a good taboo forbidden romance, so if you do have any recommendations for me, leave them in the comments below and let me know if you've read and if you enjoyed any of these books. But that's going to be it for this video, so I hope that you will like this video if you liked it, and subscribe and stick around so that you can see more content from me. But that is it, so I hope you have a great day. Bye!